On today's episode of Anime Afterthought Made in Abyss Season 2 Episode 4, Friend. Wow. Like, this was a phenomenal episode. I enjoyed almost every fucking second of it. I mean, how many times are we gonna have to watch this chick take a fucking grumper? Seriously. Bowel movements aside, this episode, holy shit. And just a heads up, I'm gonna make sure you stay to the end of today's video. I wanna try something a little new. So for the first time in the series, our group has officially split. Riku, Reg, and Nanachi have gone their separate ways, and each one is having their own adventure, and boy howdy, talk about adventure. If I was going to give today's episode a general theme, it would be resurrection. From the resurfacing of a few of Reg's lost memories, to the reappearance of a certain pink goober monster, culminating in the revival of a long since thought dead character. I mean, seriously, this episode had it all. So first and foremost, let's talk about Reg. Now, his encounter with Faputa, the Princess of Hollows, has taken a very interesting turn. Accompanied by what I can only describe as purely dazzling animation, we learn that Reg and Faputa actually have a past. As coming face to face with this Narihata, visions of his previous life begin entering his head. Unless we forget to mention the familiarity she seems to have with Reg, going as far as sniffing his crotch. I mean, Jesus Christ, we got Riku shitting her guts out, and now Reg has a hollow face deep into his groin. But yeah, I question the whole situation because she actually refers to him by name, which I absolutely love the fact that he brings up, because the first question I had was, how the fuck do you know his name? I mean, he was literally just named, albeit after Riku's dog, not too long ago. I mean, deep down inside, I know it's not a coincidence, right? Part of me thinks that maybe it has something to do in conjunction with Liza we know from another previous flashback into his lost memories, that he and Riku's mom have met before. Is this something to do with that? Another part of me wants to take a giant leap and think it's some kind of temporal manipulation. We know almost absolutely fucking nothing when it comes to the Abyss itself and how time works, especially given the fact in today's episode we now have concrete proof that some of these Narihata are actually from Ganja, insinuating that time may work different in the Abyss. But for now, I digress. Let's get back to Reg and Fapita. Now, while the exact nature of their past relationship isn't spelled out, using subtext, we can kind of garner a better look at it, especially given the familiarity she shows when it comes to Reg. I mean, she literally went straight for that dick. Not to mention the look of absolute depression plastered about her face when Reg decides to leave. Given the current situation as well as what Faputa states, it seems at some point on his journey through the Abyss to the surface, he had met Faputa, there in which the two had formed some kind of connection, but before Reg's inevitable dip, made some kind of promise, as we hear Faputa say, "Did you find your Haku, your most valuable item?" insinuating that at some point, Reg had let Faputa in on his mission to return to the surface for some important reason, where she assumes, seeing him once again, this time with a human child and a Narihata, that one of them is his Haku, and presumably now they can be together? I think that's why she is so bewildered that Reg is seemingly choosing those two, the two that will die, instead of her. I mean, that whole fucking interaction is just an absolute mindfuck, leaving us with more questions than answers, by the way. Like, way to fucking go. I mean, you already had me hooked, but now you're just fucking teasing me. And I absolutely loved how they wrapped up his little tryst, giving that nice little opportunity for self-reflection, questioning how his previous self would have handled that situation, acknowledging his shortcomings and the inevitable need to change because difficult decisions are inbound. Seriously, one of the few instances of character development, since this series seems to be focusing more on overall group dynamic. So let's talk about Nanachi and another startling revelation. Now at this point it seems the comms are down, or at least not working as they intended. I'm assuming it has something to do with the barrier of the city. But as far as Nanachi is aware, Riku is down for the count resting, while Reg is Reg, he can take care of himself. So she decides to take this opportunity to converse with Magikaja. And it's only mere moments into their conversation where we learn a startling fact. That Midi, her BFF that bore the brunt of the 6 layers cursed, thus giving Nanachi the quote-unquote blessing, could in fact be in the city as we speak. But not only that, she resides with Bailoff, one of the 3 sages. Bailoff being an original member of Ganja. The moment that Nanachi came face to face with Midi, my heart skipped a beat. They had promised one another that they would be reunited. Is this the moment? I thought to myself, no, it is too fucking good to be fucking true. That is one of the lessons that the Abyss has taught me. Some things are not adding up, especially when Kaja brought up the masked man. I'm assuming he meant Bondrude, as well as the fact that Midi looks different, unencumbered by the scars of the experiments left by Bondrude. The cynicism in me begins to question, is this Midi? To wit, we just don't know. But given the tears pouring down her cheeks, it looks like Nanachi is a believer. Whew, I guess that's 2 down and 1 to go. I mean, Riku's not gonna let the other 2 have all the fun, is she? Fun. Yeah, well, if you consider being frightened, assaulted, and once again having your pet almost killed as fun, then yeah, Riku had tons of it. It seems, once again, Riku finds herself in quite a predicament. Reassured by her presumed value, she is led astray by the Narihata of the village to a dark and desolate corner where I can only assume the Narihata groping her definitely had plans to devalue her worth. Cough cough, wink wink, definitely some pedo hollow looking motherfuckers. But out of nowhere, jumping in to save the day is little pink goober monster. Yeah, I honestly thought this dude was fucking dead. I thought he was Gonzo. But hey, I guess even the Abyss follows the rule, no body, no crime, right? We didn't see him die, so I guess he didn't? It looks like he regenerated some of his, or possibly bought some new parts, as we see the patches of skin and flesh that was ripped asunder last episode to pay off his debt. And it's funny, he is the one character now that knows the value of Menya as well as Riku, so jumping in to make sure that Menya is okay as well as Riku, but more importantly Menya, as he checks its butt. Seriously, what the fuck is with this series and butts? I just don't know, man. Anyways, it's all thanks to him that Riku was able to get out of there before the balancing occurred. Now, thanks to the conversation between Nanachi and Magikaja, we learned that in essence, the shadows, it's not a mere semblance of, like I said last week, where it's just announcing that something is priceless. They're able to peer into one's soul and determine using that said value, which will be very important coming up. But for now, let's focus on Riku and Ma. Now, Ma, the little pink goober monster, has saved the day, and it's because of this, it seems that it has formed a bond with Riku as we see the 2 walking hand in hand, a sort of aura, essence, or possibly a sense of value was created when those 2 embraced. Eventually the 2 do make it to the market, which was Riku's goal to begin with. Of course, we see her eating again. This time the food seems more palatable, even though it's made of roasted testicles. And although we do learn that some Narihata understand the surface language, the most interesting aspect of this whole scene is we meet another sage, Wazukai, the former leader of Ganja and now Narihata sage. Fuck it, let's go 3 for 3. At the very end of today's episode though, we learned what is actually controlling the balance of this city. Still in somewhat of a human form, looked extremely aged given her hair as well as her body, but I can't 100% confirm she is human, is Valko. Yes, we see the 3rd and final sage is the one performing this balancing act in the city. Holy fucking shit. It all makes sense too, right? She, since her introduction, has been looking for her own value, her own purpose to bring worth to her life. If she had a helping hand in creating this village, why wouldn't it be based off her own values of value, right? Like, Oh my god, this episode was fucking ridiculous. Like, oh shit, such a good fucking episode. Such a good fucking episode. I loved absolutely everything about it. Giant fucking mysteries still yet to be unraveled with Reg. Like, I have no clue what the fuck's going on with him or how he is connected to Faputa. What exactly was their previous relationship? Nanachi has come face to face with Midi. Like, is that the real Midi? What the fuck does Bondtrude, aka the masked man, have to fucking do with this? And you just know Riku's gonna get into more shit. I mean, she just came face to face with the fucking sage, so what the fuck? Not to mention, all the meanwhile, this village is being controlled by Valka. Like, holy shit. That's good. That shit was good. Congratulations making it this far in today's video. You're about to be blessed with the peak of human evolution, a modern masterpiece, yes, the 8th wonder of the world, the Made in Abyss cringe meter. It became all too obvious that the one vital component missing from my reviews was a scientific method to measure the overall emotional impact an episode has. Calculating the completely subjective positive and negative events, I am able to ascertain the potential psychological effect. So let's begin with episode 4. And there you have it. The results for today's episode are mildly unsettling. Yes, there was the implied potential for sexual assault, and the tummy stab, the crotch sniff, and the ooey gooey pooey coming out of our main girl Riku was definitely off-putting. Nothing got dismembered or graped. Not to mention the resurrection of Midi and the little pink goober, plus the stacks on stacks of those endless revelations. Honestly, this episode just falls short, and I'm okay with that, because God knows we'll need the cringe meter going forward. So without further ado, I now return you to your regular scheduled program. Anyways, what did you guys think of today's episode? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did you want some more of it? Well, I do. So with all that being said and more made to best next week, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.